Well, good afternoon. It is Chattin with CHAP, and it is senior week. This is day 2. I'm your host, Ginger Wade, and today we are going to talk about transcripts. You'll see I have Asher's tassel on today, lovely red and yellow. Like I said, we personalize here in the Wade household. When you graduate, you get to pick your graduating colors, and there you go. So, yesterday we talked about credits. What is a credit? How do you determine a credit? So if you didn't see yesterday's show, episode 180, you want to check that out. It will be posted on YouTube and out here on Facebook and on Spotify and all those other great podcast places. So today we're going to talk transcripts. So yesterday I got on a little rabbit trail during talking about credits about transcripts. So today we're going to dive into the transcripts. What on earth are these things called transcripts? Why do we need them? What do we use them for? So a transcript really is just a tool for you to be able to summarize your students' activities, their academic pursuits during their 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade years of school. It's a way for them to summarize what they did in a nice little package so that people can read it easily and quickly, and kind of get a grasp for what it is that your student studied, or maybe how well they did in it, based on the grades and stuff that they get. So who uses this? Why on earth would you need a transcript? Who is it that reads transcripts? Well, the big thing is colleges. Colleges will look at transcripts. Also, if you are applying for financial aid or loans, people might want to see a transcript. And you know what? Another place that I use a transcript is for my car insurance, my kids' car insurance. Everybody knows that kids' car insurance is ridiculous. So they give good student discounts. If you have a transcript put together, you can send that on over to the auto insurance folks, and they will give you, your student, a discount on their auto insurance based upon their good grades. So that is another place that you can use a transcript. That is really handy. The transcript, in my experience, is used way more often than a diploma. So we will be talking about diplomas on Thursday, but it is way more often that if you're applying for a job or applying to go to a school, that someone is going to ask you for a transcript, because it actually shows like the type of work you did, like what you focused your study on, and if they're good grades, it looks like you worked really hard anyway, or at least you learn quickly, maybe easily. I don't know if those are the right adjectives or not, but it is just a way to show what it is that your student accomplished in their years of high school. So what is on a transcript? So obviously the student's name and address would need to be on the transcript. Your parents sign it because your parents are the supervisors. You also have the school name, like we named our school Wade Academy. So Wade Academy is on our transcripts. There are some states out there, believe it or not, where homeschoolers have to come up with a school name. So they actually have to do that. We don't have to do that here in the state of Pennsylvania, but I think it's fun. So I do it anyway. And I make a little book for Wade Academy every year. But I digress. So you can name your school and put that on your transcript. It will have a GPA for each year, but also a cumulative GPA for all 4 years. It will count up all the credits. Remember, we talked about credits yesterday. It will count up all the credits for each year individually, and then as a total at the end to see how many credits you did. Remember, we talked about needing 14 credits to graduate, at least in a base education pattern. So that's the type of stuff. Now, if you go to homeschoolpennsylvania.org, and there is a section called Forms in the top right corner, it will take you to a page that lists all the forms we have out there, and on that list is the sample transcript. You can also find that link from the transcript page if you look up transcripts. But that transcript, that sample transcript, will automatically generate a really nice looking transcript for you. The first sheet in that workbook has all the instructions for how to use it. The second sheet in it is this little table where you can type in the titles of the classes they took, the number of credits, and the grade the student received. And then the third page is an auto-generated, lovely looking transcript. There are a few fields in there you have to type in, like the address and the dates that the child schooled and all that stuff. So you just read the instructions on that if you're going to use that. But so I was mentioning the things that were on there. So it's that basic information about who the transcript is of, name, address, stuff like that. And then there'll be a section for each year, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade years. And you list the classes they had. So if, say they had Algebra 1, and they had English 9, and they did World History, and they did Earth Science. So those are your 4 core courses. Then you would list any humanities they had, if they had a gym class, if they did drama, if they did art, if they did computer science, if they did home ec, if they did metal shop, wood shop, whatever. Any of those types of things, any type of humanities extracurricular, not extracurriculars necessarily, like you wouldn't list softball, but classes, things that you would count, and then so that would be listed, and then you would also list how many credits. So yesterday we talked about how many credits each course has. So like your English would be 1 credit, or drama would be half a credit, or PE would be half a credit. Okay, that will be in the next file. And then in the third column is the grade. So did they receive an A? Did they receive a B, a C, a D? And then on the sample, it shows like scales. So you can do the ABCD scale, or you can do the A+, A-, B. Like, I personally don't get into the pluses and minuses. I just do the straight ABCD. But some people like to, give a little bit of boost to helpfully boost up the GPA a little bit. So they use the pluses and minuses and stuff like that. It's totally up to you what you choose to use, by the way. Just like when you're doing credits, and you get to choose what a credit is. Here with the grades, you get to choose what grade scale you want to use. You can do the pluses, minuses, or just straight, or however you want to do that. You can decide what constitutes an A. So, and as you're doing that, obviously you don't want to set it up to make your student look like they're an amazing, stellar, genius student if they're not, because that's not going to help them in the future, right? So you want to do something that is fair, and then you would, on the sample transcript I was telling you about, you would type in all this information, and it's going to auto-generate it and put it into the transcript for you, and it will automatically calculate the GPA for you, so you do not have to solve that. It will sum up all the credit counts for you, and then, add that to the little total count at the bottom left-hand corner of it. So that is really, really handy. So suppose you're applying for something based on merit, whether it's a scholarship or something like that. This is why you would need a transcript. Like give and say, this is my merit. This is what I've accomplished. This is what I have done. The transcript sticks that in a really nice, tidy package for you. So I also do suggest that you make one for your child whether or not they think they will go to college, because you never know what will happen in the future. So your child might be so dead set against college, but in 3 years they're working at a place that wants them to get some further education, and then they need a transcript or some kind of grade report to apply. Well, if you didn't make it years ago, like as they were growing up, then you would be like, what were those grades? I have no idea. And then you'd have to come up with something, all the classes, all the grades, and so do it as you go along. Like my sophomore has a transcript. I add to it every year. Obviously my kids who have graduated already, they have completed transcripts. They are signed. We have soft copies. We have hard copies. We have multiple copies. They are stored. So if they need them, they can come back and say, hey, I need my transcript, and we can get it to them. So you want to build it as you go. And sometimes, even when I'm working on them, I sometimes even list on there the classes I think they're going to be taking for next year, kind of like as planning or thinking, mapping out what should be happening in the coming years. And you can change it. In our sample transcript, you can go in and change it anytime. But it's a tool then that helps me to get them planned, but it also keeps track of all that stuff as you go, so you don't have to go back when your kid's a senior and figure out what did they do when they were a freshman. Goodness gracious, I can't remember. So keep track of it as you go. So, like I was saying, this is your responsibility as the supervisor of your Homeschool. So now there are evaluators out there that offer as a service to do your transcript for you, which is great. It's wonderful that there are evaluators who are willing to do that. But that being said, it is not their responsibility to store that for you. So it is your responsibility to keep a copy, have it on file at home. Ultimately, according to the law, it is your responsibility to have that. Years later, if you need a transcript and you try to go back to your evaluator and have them give it to you because they did it for you when you graduated, they aren't bound by law to keep it for you. You are bound by law to keep it for yourself, right? You're being responsible and keeping that paperwork for yourself, either as the parent or as the student. Keep track of your own transcript, okay? One other thing I did want to mention, let me see here on my notes. Yeah, so people ask me a lot of times about what happens if my junior high student takes a senior high level class. Can't I put that on the transcript? Here's the deal. You can list it. Hey, my student completed Algebra 1 and Biology as an 8th grader. You can list it, but you're not going to give credit for it. So you can say 8th grade, they completed Algebra 1 and Biology. It's say your student wants to be a doctor and they're really ahead on stuff and they start a bio in 8th grade and then they're doing all these higher upper level sciences as they get to be 10th, 11th, 12th grade. You can list, so you can say, yeah, we did do basic bio. So see, they did basic bio, but you wouldn't actually give a credit for that towards their graduating GPA and their graduating credit count because it happened in 8th grade. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're planning their classes for the future, and how you're going to do the transcript. So you can, like I said, you can list it, but you can't give credit for it if it didn't happen in 9th through 12th grade. So if you have a student, say what I've learned in my journey, if you have a student who isn't super strong in math or science, there's really no reason. Some math curricula have you doing, say, Algebra 1 in 8th grade. If you don't have a super strong math student who wants to go on to do trig and calc and all those upper level maths, there's no real reason to push your student to do that in 8th grade when you could do it in 9th grade listed on the transcript for a math credit. You know what I'm saying? So you have to evaluate your child, evaluate your situation, see what's going on. But say you have a child who knows what they want to do. They want to be a doctor. They want to be an actuary, whatever. Yeah, get that stuff done in junior high because you're going to keep taking upper level courses as you go through senior high, and you'll have plenty of classes to fill those requirements that are listed in the law. So I think that covered everything. Let me know if you have any questions about that, if there's anything that I didn't touch on in the transcript. If I see anything, I'll touch on it tomorrow when I talk about the last evaluation. But I think that pretty much does it all. So in summary, the transcript is a summary of your students' progress, your students' classes for the 9th through 12th grade years. You can list what they did in 8th grade on it, but you can't get credit for it. If you go to homeschoolpennsylvania.org, there is a sample transcript generator that you will want to use and share with all your friends because it is super easy. There's instructions on it, very helpful to use. You can print it out, sign it. It's very official right there. And yeah, and you can use it from anything from, like I said, car insurance discounts to college applications to loan applications. Jobs might ask for transcripts. It's really good to build one, whether your child is planning on going to college or not. All right, thanks for tuning in again. It was day 2 of senior week. Tomorrow will be day 3 of senior week, where we will be talking about the last and final evaluation for your senior student, which maybe you've had already this year, maybe you haven't. Ours is coming up this Friday, but I will see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you later. Bye now.